Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Well, you've been to Grey Cups. You are, dare I say, a CFL guy. You must take umbrage with what they're saying about the XFL, because my guys are CFL guys for the most part, and they're trashing it. They're saying the league's about to be broke. You saw Sean Lemon say, I don't take it seriously. Do you get personally offended by that?
Yeah, I got mad at Sean about that. You know, Sean's going to be playing for the BC Lions. I call them America's CFL team. Like, I don't understand this, like in 3 down, they'll do it too. And you get, Arash in there. And I have my sign here. I think it cuts off here on the thing. But, like, we're all kind of in this together. The CFL, XFL, USFL, like, unless you are the NFL and this, like, Sean Lemon, why don't, I don't take any of these other leagues seriously. Well, spoiler alert, McLeod Bethel Thompson took the USFL very seriously. Quarterback just won the Grey Cup in your league, the premier, championship game. Decided to go. We have other guys, Darnell Sankey, going to the XFL, excelling there. Like, you're going to see this continue. USFL is approaching year 2 here. XFL, they're signing partnerships for 3 to 5 years from now with a lot of their sponsors. Like, these things are going to be around, and it's not going to erode talent tomorrow. We had Farhan Lalji on the show last week. I know he's friends here. It's not going to erode talent tomorrow, but it is going to delay the starting point of these guys wanting to go up to Canada when I could go play in Memphis in the USFL and make just about the same entry level. When I could go live in Arlington, travel, pay, live in the States and get paid just about the same. You're going to see it. It's getting there. It's getting there.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Calgary's looking forward to RP's arrival this weekend. Let's get Rod white-hatted. That is the goal, to get the host of this show given the vaunted white cowboy hat. It's the highest honor that the city of Calgary can bestow upon someone. And I would suggest, after the amount of ass-kissing I've done in the last year, I deserve to be white-hatted by the city of Calgary.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. These guys always get me with that. They play some funny clip just before we go to air, and it makes me laugh.
Hoorah.
Puts me in a great mood for Football Friday here on the old RP show. And yes, we are Atlanta's NHL show on WQEE radio. And we got some NHL stuff coming down the pipe here right out of the gate. On the program, the birthday boy, Alabama product, my good friend Richie Leone. Longtime CFL punter, former Arizona Cardinal, was one of the few NFL teams he was with. Richie Leone is going to be with us in hour 1. And a Hall of Famer in waiting from the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts and Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Andrew Harris, will be with us later on in hour 2. So I'm very excited about that. Can we bring in the co-host? He is in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, Darren Moose Dupont. And Moose, you're just like a bucking horse trying to get out of the stall. You can't wait till you want to talk some NFL stuff today. We got breaking CFL stuff. So Football Friday's right down your alley is the sense I'm getting.
It's right down my alley, Rod. And if I can, I wanted to show you something, a photo that I took when I was back home a couple of days ago. When it comes to
Sure.
The universe doing its thing, Rod. I got this at a hockey tournament in 1997, maybe, late 90s, okay? That was
Nice.
sitting in the closet back in when you're at a Florida Panthers bear. And I thought, why am I getting a Florida Panthers bear? I got no connection to Florida. There is no connection to the Florida Panthers. I'm a Leafs fan. I won it at a draw. And who knows? Who would know that all these years later, we'd be sitting here, half of the show in Florida, great connection with the Panthers. It was an early sign when I was a young boy.
I'll tell you what, if you really look back over your life and you sit back and look at those markers, it's spooky at how things end up working out. I'm going to tell you right now. From some of our viewers from Ryan O Radio, he loves the Football Friday thing. He's checked in from WQEE. Noonan, Georgie says, Football Friday, RP show, let's go. Cole McCarvey in Victoria, BC. Morning RP show. Not sure my boss will be thrilled, but I'm tuned in on this Football Friday. Not much work getting done for a few hours. LOL. I appreciate that. And let's hit the quick six show horn. And before we let's stop the Mickey Mouse. We got football coming. But first, this is the warm-up where we talk about the top 6 items of the day. What a wild. They think the fall is the busiest time in sports. How about March? Breaking news for the National Hockey League. The Philadelphia Flyers have fired general manager Chuck Fletcher and promoted franchise great Danny Briere to the interim job, the latest front office shakeup for an organization that has not won a Stanley Cup since 1975. Curses. Fletcher, who was also president of Hockey Ops, was fired a week after he failed to make any major moves at the deadline. This is an interesting story, and we're going to get into some interesting stuff today here on the warm-up. The Flyers, who had just one playoff berth during Fletcher's 4.5 years on the job, play Saturday against Pittsburgh. Philly this year 24-30-11 under first-year coach John Tortorella. The chairman of the team, Dave Scott, said, quote, "The Flyers organization has always been defined by grit, determination, and a standard of excellence. Over the past several seasons, our team simply has not lived up to that standard, so today we'll begin to chart a new path forward under a new leadership structure for Hockey Ops." Daniel Briere, who helped the Flyers to their last Stanley Cup final appearance in 2010, is considered a rising star in the organization's front office and was promoted last year from his player development role to special assistant to the GM. I wonder, I don't know. I want to hear from the Flyers fans. I know 2 really good Flyer fans. Friends of mine, Todd Pinkney, he's in our P1 club, Priority One viewers. Cliffy Mapes, the great Cliffy Mapes, junior hockey marketing executive to the Stars. And we've got several great Flyer alum friends like Joe Watson and Rich Sutter. I mean, the list goes on. They would have some strong thoughts on this. And to a man, I think everybody there is pretty disappointed with what's gone on in the Chuck Fletcher regime. Not a lot. They don't like where the team's going. I can think of one really great trade that he made. I almost shed a tear when they traded Owen Tippett last year at the trade deadline for Claude Giroux. Wonderful trade there by Chuck Fletcher. The expiring contract to Claude Giroux. They got a up-and-coming star, I think, in Owen Tippett. But that's one trade in 4.5 years. Your thoughts on this breaking news from the NHL today?
Yeah, I think the Flyers need a new direction, so I think it's a good thing, a good move. And when it comes to Daniel Briere, he is a rising star. And, you know, I know folks in your circles would have a lot of thoughts on Daniel Briere, but for me, I've seen him personally grinding and working towards this. He's not an ex-player who just sat back and waited for the phone to ring for a front office job. Daniel Briere has been a guy who's hit the road and done the work in the player development role for the Philadelphia Flyers. He was in the Reginas. He was in the Lethbridges, the Kamloopses, working the Western Hockey League, and for that matter, the CHL circles in all those rinks. I saw it with my own eyes, him at the rink, scouting players, going through the process. So I think he's earned this since he had a great playing career in the National Hockey League. So I'm excited to see Daniel Briere take on the Flyers.
Interesting. They've got us tuned in Winnipeg, as they always do, on Bell MTS cable there where we air on TELUS. Patrolman Pete writes in and he says, Kevin Cheveldayoff laughs nervously at the news from Philadelphia. This is like Jim Carrey and Liar, Liar. Oh, come on. All year long, you guys are kissing Chevy's ass. And you're way looking down your nose at Paul Maurice. And he was the problem. Oh, we had a talented team. Chevy did his job, blah, blah, blah. Now you lose to 9 of your last 11, and you want to fire the general manager. Can you pick one, Winnipeg, please? I'm over the Chevy stuff, as you can tell. Somebody's always got to be fired there in Winnipeg. Just pick one, please. Let me know. Oh, wait. NHL leftovers from Thursday night. There were 11 games. I'm not going to go through them all, but there were some doozies. Alex DeBrincat scored the game-winning goal with just over 2 minutes to go, and the Ottawa Senators held off the Seattle Kraken for a 5-4 win. Claude Giroux scored the tying goal for Ottawa. Oh, it's not just Winnipeg, but remember when we had our guy on. Who was the guy from Ottawa we had on, Clark? The reporter. I'm drawing a blank. It's Friday. I'm ready for the weekend. No.
Or was it
no,
Simmer?
From Sportsnet and The Athletic. Ian Mendes. And we were saying about how the Sens had so much optimism. And then, and now they're on the cusp of the playoffs. Although I don't think it's going to happen, which reminds me the absolute worst possible thing for the Florida Panthers happened last night, and that was Islanders and Pittsburgh going to overtime, and the Islanders winning in OT. The Panthers are looking at the taillights of both those teams, and it was a 3-point game. But, hey, it is what it is. You got to take care of your own business, and the Panthers have the Blackhawks in here tonight. In Boston, the Oilers escaped the scare when NHL scoring leader Connor McDavid limped off the ice late in Thursday's 3-2 win over the Boston Bruins. McDavid struggled to the bench after a knee-on-knee collision with teammate Derek Ryan, but the two-time NHL MVP returned to help the Oilers hold on when Boston pulled goalie Jeremy Swayman for an extra skater in the final minutes. Stuart Skinner made 26 saves to snap Boston's 10-game win streak and deprive the Bruins of a chance to be the first team in the NHL to clinch a playoff berth. I don't know how much of that you watched, Darren, but the Oilers and their fans have a real reason to be excited with that win last night.
When you can go and play against a team who's not only the number one team in the National Hockey League, but they're setting records for points and wins and the whole deal, and beat them, that's a big sign of confidence. I know Boston's not winning every single game down the stretch, but boy, like, they haven't had double-digit losses in regulation, and to go in and beat them, I think is just, it's a big sign for Edmonton that they have the tools right now to go the distance. If goaltending holds up, Skinner's shown that he can do it. They've got a real opportunity here in Edmonton.
Our director of scouting, Craig Smith, regarding Daniel Briere, he says that's what you got to do, hit the road and not sit behind a desk. Yeah, if you want to be successful, you got to get out. You got to get around. You can't sequester yourself and let everybody else do it. By the way, John Ohm says, relax, Rod. Thank you, John. You're right. I get so tired of the bunk. That's why I don't really want to talk to anybody. Because most of it is BS. In a great game in Tampa last night, Alex Martinez scored 3:09 into overtime, and Vegas defeated Tampa Bay for the 7th time in 10 games all time. Jack Eichel's shot from the slot was originally stopped by Vazzy, but the puck slipped through his pads and sat in the crease as Martinez dove and poked it into the net for the win. It almost sounded like the broadcasters were going to fight last night. Dave Gaucher of Vegas and Dave Randorf of the Lightning. They weren't, but they were really into it. That was the kind of game, and I'm telling you what, I'm hitting my feet hit the floor in the morning, and I can't wait to check my score app to see what the scores were from the night before. It's unbelievable. By the way, I think the score app was the greatest app ever developed. This would be a good poll question. Or just a viewer question. What's the one app you can't live without? I would rather have the score app over the weather app. Obviously over any social media app, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. Stocks, I got to have the score app. It's the number one app. What's yours?
Good question. I need more than a second on this one.
No, you got to answer now. You got to answer now. Got to answer now.
I'll take Twitter. I'll take Twitter.
No, I said social media side. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Social media side. Oh, it's absolutely the score app. I use nothing more than I use the score app outside of social media. Oh, for sure.
Steven in North Dakota says the Calm app is great. Oh, yeah. I should be getting a referral fee from the Calm app. Monty in Saskatoon says the Blades app. Also from John Ohm. He says, I must say, Rod, that's your best shirt ever. Just needed RPS logo stitched on it, bro. It's from a company called Scales, and I bought it at Dick's Sporting Goods. Scales.
How about that?
I love it, man. I would almost take it back to Canada, but again, I'd get my ass kicked if I wore this in Calgary, so I won't. So I'm getting all my Florida wardrobe taken care of here. Bob McCullough writes in, he says, Jets fan here in Mesa, Arizona. We are expecting the worst. Next year's season tickets figures will be brutal if the Jets miss the playoffs. Yeah, I know. Dale Barazuk in Winnipeg says, good morning, crew. Have a great weekend. Signed, Dale and Jack. Patrolman Pete says, didn't mean to get you worked up, Rod. It's on me. Like I said, it hasn't exactly been a long week. Look at my life. It's just, if you've ever been fired, have you ever been fired? I mean, I've been fired multiple times. And my good friend Terry Simpson, whom I love, former coach of the Islanders and Winnipeg Jets, said, the more you get fired, the sting wears off. You know what I mean? Like it does, for sure. But I don't like talking about people getting fired, especially when they still have their jobs. And as you know, Chevy knows me. You said that when we were in Winnipeg, he was gunning me with his eyes at that news conference. I didn't even notice because I'm like this all the time. I'm in a tunnel. But he's from Blaine Lake, Sask, so we're brothers that way. Anyways, moving on to point 3. Placeline, Montreal. Pierre-Carl Pelado is the new owner of the Montreal Alouettes. The Montreal business was unveiled as the franchise owner by the Canadian Football League at a news conference this morning, Friday morning at Olympic Stadium. Pelado, the president and CEO of Quebec War, has a reported net worth of $1.9 billion. That's with a B.
How about that?
Pelado will represent the Alouettes as their lead governor on the CFL's Board of Governors. The move comes just over a week after the CFL entered into an exclusive negotiation with Pelado regarding ownership of the franchise. The CFL took over operation of the Owls last month, appointing former President Mario Cecchini as its interim president. He's now the commissioner of the Q, taking over from Gilles Courteau, the outgoing commissioner of the Quebec League, which, by the way, either he and Mr. Bean are each other's doppelganger, or he is Mr. Bean. Has anybody seen Gilles Courteau and Mr. Bean in the same room at the same time? I don't think so. So, Darren, there's people that are worked up. I had an NHL guy here in Florida send me a text with this news and say the NHL didn't want anything to do with Pelado because of his Quebec separatist ties. He was the head of the Quebec Separatist Party. We have just over a minute to talk about that. I frankly don't care. Clearly the NHL did, and Gary Bettman wanted no part of this guy because of his political views. Randy Ambrosie obviously doesn't care. He wanted a Quebec local owner with the resources. He checks all the boxes. I don't have a problem with it. Do you?
I don't. I mean, the separatist thing was a blip. I think it was less than a year, or it was around a year that he was the head of that before he stepped down. So either he realized maybe it's not the right thing, whatever. It wasn't a long-term thing for him. And I'm inclined to give people second chances and see who they are as people rather than some of the things that happen. He's worth $1.9 billion. Forbes has him on the list of billionaires. So he's got money. He was the head of two major, the Quebecer and then Videotron, and head of two major media outlets in Quebec. So he's got a little media savvy, which the league needs. So publicity is right up his alley. And he's got lots of money. Those are two boxes, really critical boxes that we needed to check, and we did.
Ireland Bruce III is watching CFL Great, and he says, iHeartRadio, one of my favorite apps, which we air on, the RP show. He says, oops, I'm in Canada. He says, favorite is spelled with a U. Ryan in New York State says, I've been fired. Wasn't a pleasant experience, but I managed to get by. Well, wait till the next time, Ryan. Like I say, you get used to it over time. Carlos in Indianapolis says, Carlos in Indy says, I hope that works out for the Alouettes and the CFL in general. So we'll talk about that. The XFL Week 4. Darren has NFL things he'd like to get to. Weekend randoms coming up include the Briar, PGA, NFL, NLL. It's a very busy weekend. We'll be right back. We are only halfway through the warm-up on Game Plus Television, iHeartRadio, YouTube Live, and your Southern Home of Sports and Talk, WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's March, it's madness! Capital GMC Buick Cadillac has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Capital has Sierra 1500s with rates starting as low as 1.49%. Over 400 new vehicles in stock, or drive away in a GM certified pre-owned vehicle. They all come with a 150 plus point inspection and a 3-month warranty. It's March, it's madness! On now at Capital GMC Buick Cadillac, Saskatchewan's #1 GM retailer, capitalgmc.ca. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Welcome back, everybody. It is a Football Friday. Good stuff. We got good stuff going on. We got CFL coaches texting in, and they're loving the discussion, so we'll continue rolling with that. Darren Moose Dupont is here. We got great comments from the audience. I see Kevin the Medium has checked in. I'll be seeing him next week at the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino in Calgary. And by the way, if my backdrop falls down, you'll know it's because it's windy here. Using Canadian terms, here currently in Boca Raton, Florida, Darren, it's 26 degrees Celsius. The wind is out of the northwest at 17 kilometers an hour. With the humidity, it feels like 27 degrees Celsius. That's above, y'all. And using Fahrenheit terms, for the Fogies, 79 Fahrenheit. And the wind is still out of the northwest. It is at 17 kilometers an hour. I guess they measure it in K there. It feels like 80 with the humidity. So before we go any further, the poll question for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center is this: who is your Grey Cup favorite? And the odds are from the exclusive sports book of Clark Monroe. our official
How about that?
producer, sportsbook, and odds maker, producer Clark. So your options, according to Clark, are Winnipeg, Toronto, and Hamilton. And I'm having fun with that, of course. The poll is brought to you daily by Capital Automall, Universal Collision Center, Capital has dealerships all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. Because if you look up Grey Cup odds futures at Bet Regal, which Clark did, what'd you say they were? It was BC, Clark, Winnipeg, Hamilton, and BC. That's it. I just need the top three. And no, he looked at this. He's like, he feels that it should be Winnipeg, Hamilton, Toronto. And who's leading, by the way, Clark, on YouTube, if you don't mind me asking? Yeah, see, Winnipeg. So no matter who you put in as the third, it's Winnipeg's going to lead it. On Twitter, they're leading with 48% of the vote. 29% on Twitter saying other, and that's probably the Rider fan factor, Moose. Hamilton, 17%, Toronto, 6%. But, you know, when Grey Cup ended, as we all recall, in Mosaic Stadium in Sask, on a blocked Winnipeg field goal attempt, the Argos win it. A week later, I came out with my way too early CFL predictions for this upcoming season. Standings, I mean. But that was foolish to do that. It was kind of just to get people talking because people like to do that, or they should in the offseason. But that was before free agency. CFL looks a heck of a lot different now in mid-March than it did in the last week in November.
Oh, does it ever? I mean, McLeod Bethel Thompson's not in the league anymore. He was the leading passer last year. Andrew Harris is going to have his last year in the Canadian Football League before going to become a head coach in the PFC or in the Okanagan. And then, you know, you look at what Edmonton did, and Bo Levi's on the Tiger Cats, and Eugene Lewis is not with Montreal anymore, and Trevor Harris is with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Darrell Walker's there too. It is like put everybody in a blender and roll the dice. I mean, wild to think of where we are now compared to November.
So no matter what, I mean, what has it? How about the teams that did the least in free agency? I would suggest they're the Winnipeg Blue Bombers and the Calgary Stampeders. If you're Winnipeg, they've been in 3 straight Grey Cups. What do you got to do other than hang on to your guys? They're the most rock-solid franchise in the league, and you saw that coming, that they wouldn't do much in free agency for that reason. So anyways, the big news today, if you've just tuned in, the Montreal Alouettes have officially been sold to Quebecor, the media giant, Pierre-Carl Pelledeau. The founder and CEO of that company is now the governor and owner of the Alouettes, who a week ago, I wouldn't have known him if he came up and kicked me in the shin. So I'll defer to the people that do know him as to whether this is a good move or not. But they wanted local ownership. This guy was the head of the Quebec Separatist Party, which, again, I don't care about. Like, I'll make zero apologies for the fact that we're a Western Canadian-themed show. Ta-da! If you didn't know already, breaking news. So and I have no interest. I have no interest in living in Eastern Canada. Never did. If I wanted to, I would have gone. Nothing against it. Wonderful place to visit. Fantastic people. But I feel at home with the blue sky, the wide open spaces, the Rocky Mountains, the cowboys, yada, yada, yada. And the oil. And my rich tycoon friends in Western Canada would separate if they had the chance. Because most of them don't say it. Other than Brett Wilson. And maybe that's because they're afraid of this. The NHL wouldn't welcome Quebecor as an owner because of his separatist views. So whatever, I don't think he really cares. So again, if it's good for the CFL, it's good for me. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, well, if Ambrosi wants to take the CFL international, then selling the Alouettes to a Quebec separatist may be a good way to do it. Pa-dum-pum. The old joke. I want to say time flies. Darren, I think I was still in school when they had the separatist vote. Can somebody tell me when they had the big separatist vote, or was I completely out of it? And Quebec, it was like 51-49 against separating. The Quebec referendum. And so they lost. This is, again, we're at a weird time of society because I know you guys want me to talk about football, and I will. But Darren doesn't want me to talk politics, and I get it. But all of my military friends, Air Force, Navy, Armed Forces, they defend these countries so that we can have an opinion. Free speech, whatever we want. Vote for whoever we want. And then it's a democracy. We go to the poll, and then we decide by a vote. I think it's pretty fair, don't you? But now you're being excluded for your views politically, religiously, whatever. And believe me, kneeling. How about that with Kaepernick? Everybody thought it was such an affront to the military and the police. And believe me, there were those police officers that were upset about it, I think for their own safety more than anything. But any military people I talked to said, we defend the country, so Colin Kaepernick can do whatever the hell he wants. That's a fact. So the fact that Pellado is being excluded from things because he's a separatist, frankly, I have a problem with that. And when I bring up the school thing, I just remember the old joke. Don't get offended out in Eastern Canada, please. But they said Newfoundlanders were hoping that Quebec would separate because then they'd be 3 hours closer to Toronto. Ba-dum-bum.
Ba-dum-bum.
This thing on.
I like it.
Craig, our director of scouting, says the first time I was let go in the CFL, it shook me up a bit. But I stepped back and thought about it and understood the way pro sports worked. Oh, yeah, it's not personal, Smitty. The only thing is, when the teams can't get over it, but that's their problem. I know there's a lot of comments coming in. Everybody's been waiting for Football Friday. Allie in Texarkana says, I hear you, Rod. Carlos in Indianapolis says, hello, Rod's Rant. Argo Fluffy, watching, I would assume in Toronto, says the NHL will make any excuse to not come back to Quebec. That might be the comment of the day right there.
How about that?
They don't really want to say why they don't want to go to Quebec City, so let's just come up with a reason why we don't like Pellado and Quebecor. That makes that's a lot more sense, doesn't it? Hey, again. Jason in Red Deer says, welcome to Rod's Comedy Hour. That's not going to get us in trouble, is it, Moose?
No, shouldn't. Knock on wood. We're good.
Yeah, whatever.
We're good.
And by the way,
We're good.
We're fine. Come on, you have a sense of humor. I will say this. I think we're going to have to push a lot of our topics over into hour 2, which I'm sure you're fine with, which include the Raptors. They're at the Lakers tonight. Us Atlanta Hawks. That's my NBA team, the Hawks. We're going to go into Washington and have our way with the Wizards tonight. But XFL Week 4, I want your opinion on this. I wrote about it in my commentary today. You can read it at rodpeterson.com. Houston's at Orlando. San Antonio's at Seattle. That's Saturday's game. Sunday, Arlington is at St. Louis, and Vegas is at D.C. I asked yesterday Reed Johnson from the Markcast, the U.S. XFL podcast, what's the game of the week? He said it's St. Louis, Arlington. I don't really know why. But down here, every game's on a major U.S. network. I'm seeing a lot of talk about it. A lot of talk about it on social media, Darren, and I'm in. I'm going to watch whatever's available to me. My Orlando Guardians, I believe, have not won a game yet. So there's a storyline I'll be following. I'm kind of in on the XFL. How about you?
You know what? I'm going to give it a shot this weekend. It's going to be I'm going to give it a shot, and I'll be watching. So, Monday, I'll give you the report on my thoughts around the XFL. I'm geared up enough. I'm actually looking forward to it. And after listening to Reed speak, it'll be that game. I'll be watching this weekend. So, yeah, I'm finally getting into it.
Well, again, these leagues, whether people believe it or not, they need a salesman, a pitchman. They needed up in your face, and Reed is a great guy for the XFL. Why, I told you in our morning meeting today that today I'm driving home from the gym in my Jeep. I got the radio on one station. Dan Patrick's talking about the Chicago Bears, what they're going to do with their number 1 overall pick. On the local Miami station, they're talking about Tua and what are they going to do when his contract's up in a year with the Dolphins. On the third station, they're talking about Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets, and somebody called in and said, when did this become a Jets station? We're in Miami. Ba, 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 ba. It's just all NFL all the time, man. There's not a lot of room for anybody else in the sports world. Jason and Red Deer, I appreciate him writing in. He says, the separatist vote was somewhere in the early 90s, I believe, because I recall talking about it in high school. Maybe I'm wrong. LOL. John Ohm says the 1995 Quebec referendum was the second referendum to ask voters to choose. Everybody's writing in 1995. So, yeah, I think I said 90s earlier, if I'm not mistaken. So I didn't fry all my brain cells. What else you got to say before hour 2 when you come back, Moose?
No, I'm just I'm loving the chat today. I know we're going to get to lots of NFL stuff coming up probably an hour or 2 and more of the CFL stuff. And excited to see both, Richie and Andrew on the program. I think it's going to be a great show today.
Do we have the birthday boy logged in, Clark, and ready to roll? Hello? I'm just going to assume so. Okay. All right, Moose. See you in hour 2.
Thank you.
Kevin the Medium has written in, and we can't ignore this. He says, how in the heck is BC not on the list to win the Grey Cup? Talk to Clark. I'm out. It's the RP Show, Football Friday on Game Plus TV, YouTube, and WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
It's March. It's madness. Capital Ford has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Save up to $7,000 on a brand new F-150. They have over 150 available right now. Or drive home in a new to you used vehicle. Plus, Capital Ford offers the highest guaranteed trade-in value, or they'll give you $500 cash. Get your hands on a new ride before they come to their senses. On now at Capital Ford. Visit CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy of the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is a Football Friday, and as we say, we're in one. We're having a lot of fun today. Talking ball and a few other things. Breaking news, the Philadelphia Flyers firing general manager Chuck Fletcher today, and the Montreal Alouettes have officially been sold to Quebecor and its CEO and founder, Pierre-Carl Pelado. Text lines open 902-518-33. I just opened up, and it's full. So we'll get to those comments in a moment. But let's go to the birthday boy. Happy birthday to you. Born how many years ago today? Is it Roswell, Georgia? Roswell, Georgia. Richie, happy birthday, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, I was born 5 a.m. 31 years ago. Shout out to my mom. That's an early morning. I didn't know you guys were going to catch up on it, but it's actually the best way I think I could spend my birthday is to be hanging out with you.
How about that?
I appreciate it, man. Richie, you're the best hairline in pro football, by the way. And, you being a Georgian, we are on the air, WQEE, noon in Georgia, so shout out to everybody in the Peach State listening. Richie is with the Ottawa REDBLACKS now, but played his university football at Houston, as you see on his hoodie, and he played with the Baltimore Ravens, Pittsburgh Steelers, BC Lions, and Arizona Cardinals. And let's just catch up on some, Richie. How's the offseason been for you?
It's good. I think, we've switched places. You're still down in Florida, aren't you?
Yes,
I used to spend my, my off seasons down there. Back when COVID was running rampant, I tuned in every morning. I know you always give me a shout out whenever I'd ask a stupid question or mainly stupid questions. But yeah, off season's good. This is my second consecutive off season that I've spent north of the border, and the winter itself is it's actually been really easy, quite mild, much easier than last year. Either that or my expectations have just kind of made it easier for me. But yeah, things are good, training hard, and I'm looking forward to getting back to playing ball.
I got to ask you this, man. You are one of a large group of guys that just love the Canadian Football League, right? I mean, there's the XFL's fired up. Hello, everybody, I'm here. XFL's fired up. The USFL is fired up. But you staunchly want to play in the Canadian Football League. You wave the flag. What are the reasons for that, Richie?
Well, I think it's just gotta, you go back to like my formative years in the CFL where I spent in BC, and just being young and traveling around Canada. I always give a lot of people crap that I meet. A lot of people in Canada, they claim that they don't travel a lot inside of Canada. I've probably been to more cities, more provinces than a lot of Canadians, which I'm very grateful for. And just seeing the culture and the rich history that our game has is something that I really love near and dear. I mean, I love going to Regina and running into you every time I'm there. And, just the traditions within each team, the history, like I said, the culture, everything about it. It's just been great, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to stay up here. The CFL Ottawa has invested in me, and I want to return the favor, invest in the community, and to give back as much as I can.
Well, you're one of the reasons that the CFL is so great. You've had a lot of success in the CFL, been to Grey Cups and so forth. But I got to say this, Richie brings up, and I love running into you too. You were with your kicker, Lewis Ward, when I ran into you in the mall, and I'm like, you guys, you're like Bert and Ernie, man. You're so tall. He's so not. Can you tell me something about your relationship with Lewis Ward, your kicker?
Yeah, it's been real special. We came in our first year together in 2018, and obviously went on that historic, 69 consecutive made field goals. He's a really good guy. He works really hard. We both, keep each other accountable. It's just been a really nice, bond and friendship. It goes from the field and off the field as well. We talk all the time, and it's been really special. You have to have that kind of trust in relationship when you're holder and kicker, and it's just been great. And to be 5 years removed from our first year, so we've been together for a long time. I couldn't think of anything better. I want to continue making more memories, making more kicks.
You talk about great CFL people, great CFL stories. His, of course, is the one being a security in the stadium one year. Next year, kicking for the team and setting a record for consecutive kicks. You got to tell me, what is his secret? Is it mental? Is it physical? Or both?
Yeah, I mean, when you're kicking, it's got to be a marriage of both. I mean, I kicked a little bit as well in 15 and 16. Had my ups and downs, and you got to marry both. You got to have quite a lot of confidence. You got to be mentally strong. That's why I think punting itself is actually a harder thing to do, but kicking is way more difficult overall because of the mental strength you have to have, and those big pressure moments.
Speaking of your time in BC, we should talk about that. What was the clip with Paul McCallum? What was the deal missing 4 field goals? There was a funny story going around. I think it was on the Lions account. What was the deal? Was it you missed 4 in a game?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was. There's a story that goes along with it. Of course, I think we played on a Friday. It was the last game ever at Taylor Field, ever. And 2 days before, I had cooked some food that John Jennings, my roommate, said was in the refrigerator too long. I ended up getting very sick, so I missed a day of practice, and then the next day was a travel day, and then the next day was a game day. So I was down about 11 pounds. I missed 4 field goals. It was a bad dream. I remember we were beating the crap out of the Riders. Sorry. So it didn't really matter, but obviously it was just so embarrassing. And I had my struggles earlier in the season that Wally was challenged me on, rightfully so. And, we get to the point of the year where, we were a good team. And, kind of the rest is history. They brought Paul back. But it's funny to laugh at now. I don't know if anybody – I went 1 for 5, made a short field goal. And needless to say, the Rider fans were giving to me pretty good.
Well, okay. Now you jog my memory, but it was only a few months after that you and I met in Phoenix, which was a story that I was going to bring up. I was hosting the Riderville party down there, and you didn't want to come on the air with me because you thought Rider fans would give you the gears. I'm like, Richie, it's February. Nobody cares anymore. Or March or what it was. And you did. And what a great time that was in Glendale. Yeah,
that was fantastic. I mean, and that adds to the kind of lore and appreciation I have for the CFL. Being in Arizona and running into so many Canadians. I was just in Turks and Caicos for a couple of weeks ago, and I ran into 2 Lions season ticket holders. He was showing me pictures that he had, that he got season tickets. And so you run into these people who are so passionate about our game. And it's a small league, but big hearts and big people care about it. So it's always really special when you have those encounters.
Didn't you sign with the Cardinals then? Now that I go back and think about it.
Yeah,
so
I
going 1 for 5. Yeah, didn't really matter.
Yeah, well, I signed to be a punter, right? That's always been my strength, and had an opportunity. It didn't really work out, but still was there and learned a lot, all that good stuff.
Well, you're still a Cardinal, because I remember sitting around the kitchen table at my buddy Murray's place in Glendale, and I said, "This is my friend Richie." I said, he's a pro football punter, and Murray was like, "For who?" And you said, "The Cardinals." And he was like, the Cardinals? I'm like, yes, absolutely. So, yeah, it's good. Well, Richie, man, you know what I think about you. I love you. That's why I give you such a hard time. I wouldn't give you a hard time if I didn't love you.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Oh, good, good. Well, have a great birthday, my man, and I appreciate you allowing us to be part of it, and I'll see you out on the field this year in Ottawa.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Always a pleasure, Rob. Have me back anytime.
Thank you, buddy. The great Richie Leone of the Ottawa REDBLACKS. It's his birthday today. Very happy to be part of it. Andrew Harris coming up in hour 2. When we come back, we'll get to all of your messages. We're asking you what's the greatest app ever developed. I'm saying it's The Score, and pretty much everybody agrees. I haven't heard of too many else. It's the RP Show live on Game Plus TV, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
It's March. It's madness. Capital Ford has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Save up to $7,000 on a brand new F-150. They have over 150 available right now. Or drive home in a new to you used vehicle. Plus, Capital Ford offers the highest guaranteed trade-in value, or they'll give you $500 cash. Get your hands on a new ride before they come to their senses. On now at Capital Ford. Visit CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
It's the RP Show, as the man said. Thank you, Rick Regan. And we don't have a lot of time in this segment. That's fine, however. The Moose will be back with us at hour 2, and we will get into more of whatever this is. How about this for a slogan, Ryan O Radio down there in Atlanta? Doing things differently. The RP Show. How about that?
How about that?
There are only 2 NHL games tonight. The Chicago Blackhawks are here in Florida, and Anaheim's in Calgary. And I guess my point is everybody else is talking about that in Canada. Everybody else is talking about the NFL in the USA. So we'll talk about other stuff, and people seem to like it. Regarding the best app ever developed, I really want to know your thoughts on that. Rob is watching in the Queen City. He says, without a doubt, the Score app ties in with my Bet Regal app. How about that? I would advocate for that. Jim Wagner watching in Balgoni. He says, yay, Football Friday, let's go. Have a great show. Regarding the breaking news in the CFL today that Quebecor has purchased the Montreal Alouettes, Dougal Cameron in Calgary watching. He says, I worked for Quebecor for at least 2 decades on and off. Great company to work for. Canada's largest printer by far. I saw the account CFL News live tweeting the news conference, which was from a couple hours ago. Randy Ambrosie, the commissioner of the Canadian Football League, saying that this move is for the long haul, and I believe it is. But I say, you know, the news conferences are like wedding photos. 100% of the time, everybody's smiling, shaking hands, arm around each other, and over half end in divorce. And but that's a fact. Let's not rain on Montreal's parade today. I found it very interesting that they are having the news conference, or did, at Olympic Stadium. Again, I'm not a Montreal guy. I've been there many times. I love Montreal. If I was to live in Eastern Canada, it would be Montreal. 10 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10. 1 time out of 10, I'd pick Ottawa. But Olympic Stadium, of all the places, not easy to get to. Stephen in North Dakota writes in, and he says, I have a dinner date today. I didn't meet her by the washroom. Do you have any dating advice? No. 0. He says, when will the Grey Cup be played at the Schooners field? Well, they don't have a field, so how about half past never? 902-518-3033, the number to reach us here. Richard, where is he? He is in Columbus, Georgia. How about that? Rod, big fan of the show. This is Richard Holdridge coming on right after you. Thank you, Richard, on WQEE. What are you going to be talking about, Richard? I guarantee it won't be what we're talking about. Last minute of play in hour 1. There were some things that I wanted to get into here that we didn't earlier. Number 1, the Toronto Raptors look to snap a 2-game losing streak as they visit the LA Lakers tonight. Raptors guard Fred VanVleet is lighter in the wallet today after being hit with a $30,000 fine by the NBA for criticizing officials following Wednesday's 108-100 loss to the Clippers. I laugh because I watched the clip and every single thing Fred said was right. And I also knew this was going to happen. I didn't think to the tune of $30,000. Holy. But you can't criticize the officials even when you're right. And Darren agrees with that, the Moose. He'll talk about that when he comes on next hour. And Andrew Harris as well. Well, after this brief pause on Game Plus and WQEE, the key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for 25, 3 for 60, or 10 for 100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Smoky in the air, it's a lot of time. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Calgary's looking forward to RP's arrival this weekend. Let's get Rod white-hatted. That is the goal, to get the host of this show given the vaunted white cowboy hat. It's the highest honor that the city of Calgary can bestow upon someone. And I would suggest, after the amount of ass-kissing I've done in the last year, I deserve to be white-hatted by the city of Calgary.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
City of Calgary may not agree with that. I don't know, but we're going to find out starting Monday when we're back at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Does my breaking news bell mean anything? Calgary Stampeders bell. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio on this Football Friday and iHeartRadio. Can we please bring in Darren Moose DuPont today? We are having a lot of fun. Hey, Moose, you are a football first, hockey second? Are you hockey second? I never asked you. You must be.
It's so close, but yeah, I'd probably lean now football first, hockey second.
Okay. Hockey first here, football second. And then probably baseball third. Lacrosse fourth. When we haven't even got to the NLL, I was saying to Darren before the show that very tough for the National Lacrosse League, of which Darren and I are both fans, and they do have millions of fans, to get a foothold in the sports market with what's going on right now. We're talking about the breaking news today, Philadelphia Flyers firing general manager Chuck Fletcher. That's not a surprise to anybody. The Montreal Alouettes sold to Quebecor, the printing and media giant out of Quebec. XFL Week 4, NFL stuff, which we'll get to because you wanted to talk about that. There's a Canadian in contention in the PGA Championship. Briar going on. NFL. And I wanted to point this out. And I love answering people's questions because they now know that I'm a Florida guy at least half the year. Metal Shingle Guy has written in on the 902-518-3033 line. And he says, with Flowers signing in Orlando, are they talking positive about the XFL in Florida? Let me tell you something about this state as it pertains to football. It's just like Canada with hockey. They don't talk down the XFL. They don't talk down the CFL. They don't talk down college football, high school football, Pop Warner, NFL. It's a football state. They respect it. They're not like Canada where people crap on the CFL, crap on the XFL, crap on anything that's not the NFL. Consider this. Lifelong hockey guy here, worked in a variety of levels, as did my dad. My brothers played. Darren, if you knew a guy, maybe you do, a career assistant coach in the American Hockey League, we respect that. Jamie Heward is the assistant coach of the Henderson Silver Knights of the American Hockey League, and all his friends and family in Regina say, good for you, Huey. And the American Hockey League, because nobody talks down Junior A. Nobody talks down Junior B. Just the other night, I was in Regina talking to the guy we call Furnace Face, and he says, you know who is the most up-and-coming junior hockey coach right now in the province is Drew Koser. Pilot Butte Storm. Junior B. See what I'm saying? In Canada, all levels of hockey are respected. If you're Mike Babcock went and coached at the University of Saskatchewan and nobody snickered at him, it's a six-figure job. So here, if you're going to go play in the XFL or the USFL or the CFL or the NFL or coach in college, it's good for you, bro. Good for you. Go kill it. There's my rant on that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I completely understand. You know, it's a respect because we know the game, and when it comes to football, we have a bit of an inferiority complex, I think. And it's too bad because the game is really good in Canada. The CFL is really good. And football of all levels in this country, really, really good. You know, even from the junior levels, we've gone into international competitions and won, beat out the U.S. and Mexico and Japan and Sweden and all the other countries that are starting to play football at a really high level. But, yeah, if it's not hockey, we don't think we have that inferiority complex. And I hope that goes away, but I don't see it happening.
I love this guy, Argo Fluffy. I don't know what he's talking about. He said, dead horse, Rod. What is?
You're barking up a dead horse.
Yeah, I was having lunch with my guy, Chris Sanford, the other day. Chris Sanford, the guy from Albany. And he says, what's that saying? Are your brothers barking up a dead horse's ass? I said, yeah. He goes, what does that even mean? I said, I don't even know. It actually came from my mom. And I'm going to, what is it about Fridays? Which, incidentally, I'm not going to the Panthers game tonight. Going to check out, enjoy my last night in Florida before I got to leave for a while, come back to Canada for the some commitments, of course. But Argo Fluffy, he just, I'm clearly not picking a fight here, but says, number one, dead horse, Rod. What, with the Canadians don't respect the CFL? They used to, and they don't anymore. Don't get me started. He goes, Toronto needs its NLL team back. Is it not just playing in Hamilton? Are you too freaking lazy to drive 58 kilometers down to Hamilton to watch the game? See how I said people drive me psycho on Fridays? Get off your ass and go watch him if you miss him so much. God. What's happening in the NFL? Because I've been, honestly, clearly, head stuck in the NHL clouds and enjoying it immensely. But what's up? You're obviously following very closely what's going on in the NFL.
There's a few. Obviously, the Aaron Rodgers talk with the Jets is picking up steam. The probably number two would be the Lamar Jackson situation when you have a guy who's a former MVP, and this is drawing a lot of conversation online. You have a former MVP, one of the most electrifying players in the game, gets a non-exclusive franchise tag. Like, when does a franchise not want to protect that player exclusively and slap the franchise tag on him that way? And then as soon as he's got the non-exclusive franchise tag, instead of everybody getting excited, you get a release of all the teams who say, we're not interested, we're not interested, we're not interested, we're not interested. And it's putting up red flags on Lamar Jackson. And then the latest is more players being released. Ben Jones, the former All-Pro center of the Titans, getting released. And then Adam Thielen, we had a lot of Vikings fans. Adam Thielen has been released after the two sides failed to work out a deal. I think he'll be highly coveted as a free agent here. He's not the number one receiver he was a couple of years ago, but he'll be very serviceable for a new team.
could sit and talk about that all day if you want. Believe me.
Yeah.
Nobody listening in Georgia right now on WQEE is going to turn the radio off if we're talking NFL. But that's the thing with the buzz and the rumors and the talk and the hype. I mean, just the other day, didn't Clark put in my ear, oh, the Falcons are going to be in on Lamar Jackson. That's the rumor. 24 hours later, Falcons out on Lamar Jackson. Why do we waste our time on that? Which, interestingly enough, he's from here. Or close, like 14 miles from here. The beach house, Pompano Beach, where we do the show from, he's from Pompano. And it's hilarious because Thad, the manager, who might be watching right now, is such a hockey guy that I said, you ever seen Lamar Jackson in here? He's like, who? Forget it, Thad. Darren in Utah, Darren Workman watching, he says, Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, he deserves it. I was thinking the same thing. Why would you want to go to the Jets? Why would you want to go there if you're Aaron Rodgers? Like, I get you're over Green Bay. I get it. I've never been there, but guys that have tell me it's the Moose Jaw of Wisconsin, which I love Moose Jaw. I'll be there this weekend. But if I wanted to live there, I would be. Like, I could see why Aaron Rodgers wants to leave there. But the Jets? They're the longest playoff drought in the NFL, 11, 12 years. Does he want a challenge?
I think the future looks pretty good in New York, actually. Like, you got a good coach, I think, in Robert Saleh. I think you're pretty happy with him as a coach. The offensive line's good. The thing for Aaron, too, is you mentioned the Wisconsin thing. He goes from Green Bay, Wisconsin to, the biggest market in America, New York, something he hasn't had his whole career. So he gets to be the star, probably be on Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon every night and, doing that thing and getting to be in the lights and the glamour and the show. And I think, people are sleeping on the Jets a little bit. They've got some good talent in that receiving core and a young team that maybe is an Aaron Rodgers away from being back in the playoffs.
What's he been there in Green Bay? 18 years? Is it 19 years? It's a lot. And I do get the sense that they're tired of Aaron too, which is a little odd because he's been so stellar. But things change. Look at Tom Brady, New England. That wore off too. I was digging into this a little bit because I was like, how are the Packers allowing the Jets to load up a plane and send all their top guys to Green Bay to meet with Aaron Rodgers? And then it turned out that they did give them permission to do so. So I've been looking into it. And the Jets, they do feel they're on the rise. They had one of the top defenses in the NFL last year, one of the great young coaches in Robert Saleh. Oh, the way you explain it like that makes sense. Ryan in Toronto says it would be fun if Rodgers and Thielen end up on the same team. Ted in Red Deer says the Jets have a good team now, just need a quarterback. Graham in Calgary, welcome Graham. He's a new viewer or at least a new commenter. He writes in and he says, should we have a deal where players can play in both the XFL and CFL? Like Michael Bishop did with the Arena League? I believe that deal's still in place unless something's changed. I had a couple of friends do that in the first XFL, Paul McCallum being one.
Yeah.
As we get older, you wonder if you will be remembered, if you left enough to be remembered. And I remember Paul McCallum. I was watching the game in the farmhouse. 1:11 Eastern, by the way. 1:11 Eastern. Visualize a positive outcome.
Beautiful.
11:11 Mountain. Anyways, I was watching it, and Paul kicked the first ever points in the history of the original XFL. The first ever point. Does anybody remember? No. Just me. I don't even think Paul remembers. But anyways, Stephen in North Dakota says, will the NFL suspensions be honored by the XFL and USFL? Yeah, because I don't think those leagues want to tick off the NFL. But I guess my point is if you sign a one-year contract, which I think is what the XFL contracts are and probably the USFL too, CFL is going to honor that. If you're a good enough player, they'll let you do whatever you want, right? But if you're sign a 2-year deal with the CFL and you got 1 year left, they're not going to allow you to go play in the XFL. But if your contract's up and you could feasibly and you physically think you could do it, play in both leagues in 1 year, I'm sure they would allow you to do that. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, again, as you said, it all depends on what kind of a player you are, right? If you're a top-end player, you know, teams might write it into your contract that you can't play in another league in the offseason. We're paying you enough money that we want you to not risk injury. We don't want you, you know, playing another game anywhere else. So that could be a stipulation teams will put in contracts, especially for the high-end players. They could do that.
I'll allow it, but I got to limit the comments from viewers that allow more people to. But Stephen in North Dakota says, do you remember the Dolphins player that went north to Toronto? Do I remember it? It was Ricky Williams, of course, and he played with the Toronto Argonauts, and he broke his arm at Taylor Field, and I called the game. And who broke it, you ask? My current financial consultant, number 45, Rough Riders linebacker, Mike McCullough.
How about that?
Who I think at one time had a photo on the wall of that particular hit where he broke Ricky Williams' arm. And while he wasn't necessarily celebrating that he broke Ricky Williams' arm, he's not denying it either. I'll never remember the ambulance backing up to the stadium and Ricky Williams going in there, snapped his arm. He never played football again. Way to go, Mike. Couple other randoms here, Moose. You're really into the curling. How Canadian of you.
I know I am.
As I recall. Oh, I got too many windows open here. Why don't you give me a Briar update? You want to give me a Briar update while we're sitting here?
Yeah, the playoffs start right now, I believe, or very soon if it's not underway. I think right at the top of the hour that it started with the playoffs now. So half the teams have gone home. The top 3 in each pool have moved on. Our boy, Matt Dunstone, is the class of the Briar. He's having an amazing week. He's undefeated. I don't even think he's played a 10th end yet. Every game's ended in handshakes. He's been dominant. And so he's got a bye, doesn't play today or in the first draw. Kevin Cooey, after his ring kind of went different ways, is into the playoffs. Brendan Botcher is into the playoffs. Of course, our guy Gushu is in as well. So it's going to be a fun rest of the week into the weekend as all the big names have advanced.
Well, that's very good. Off the top of your head, man. Bravo.
Thank you.
This from the Canadian Press. The Tim Hortons Briar continues today in London, Ontario with the playoff qualifiers. Brendan Botcher's wild card 1 rink will take on Northern Ontario's Tanner Horgan, while Alberta's Kevin Cooey meets Ontario's Mike McEwen. The winners move on to play seeding games tonight against either defending champion Brad Gushu or Manitoba's Matt Dunstone. The 14 page playoffs will follow on Saturday. It's interesting. It was a few years now that they changed the format of the Briar. I don't understand why they do it. And we have to break. We'll talk about it when we come back. I'm sure they're loving the curling talk in Georgia right now. But as Serena says, we've talked about this a lot. She's like, don't alienate your hardcore fans. She's got a real hang-up with the NHL, and I get it, that they're doing all these weird things to attract new fans, and it's pissing off the longtime fans. And I say, we're never going anywhere. You know, but I'm not clearly not a hardcore, diehard curling fan. So change it up if you want. I just find it really confusing and you lose me. Why would you not stay with what you had? But anyways, Andrew Harris coming up from the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts. It is a Football Friday. We're live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for 25, 3 for 60, or 10 for 100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Smoky in the air, it's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Laid back and kicking it, let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
You betcha. You betcha. Winding this up, our last day in Florida for some time, for a few months anyways. Heading back to the Great White North, and it's going to be fun being at Calgary's Grey Eagle Resort and Casino beginning Monday. Jamie McCown will be with us, two-time Stanley Cup champion. A little later on in the week, Calgary Stampeders defensive coordinator Brent Munson. And we'll have a lot of other fun guests throughout the way as we broadcast live from Calgary's entertainment destination. Darren Moose DuPont is with us. And I should have said this before we bring the Moose on, but that's okay. Updating the poll today for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center. Capital has dealerships all across the Canadian prairies. Who's the early Grey Cup favorite? Your options, according to producer Clark, are Hamilton, Toronto, Winnipeg, and other. Leading the way is the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with 42% of the vote. Next is other. I call that the Rider fan factor with 32% of the vote. Hamilton 16, Toronto 10. Bet Regal's odds have Winnipeg, Hamilton, BC. Yeah. Kevin the Medium has written in and says, how the heck is BC not in your poll? Talk to Clark. I'm not disagreeing with Clark. I'm just telling you what Bet Regal has. Regarding Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, Dougal Cameron in Calgary, who, by the way, is a regular down at the Grey Eagle watching our show live, and you can watch it live 10 a.m. to noon Mountain daily. Dougal says maybe Aaron Rodgers wants to be the second coming of Joe Namath. From Devon in Burns Lake, British Columbia, he says, why should you get your children into curling? The answer, it's the only way to get them to sweep the house.
How about that?
Nice timing over there.
I know.
We are broadcasting the show out of doors, and frankly, I'm going to miss it. I've seen some stuff on social media that they're expecting a blizzard in Sask. Oh, yeah, it was my buddy Guy told me that. What's the forecast there, Moose?
Yeah, it's starting. About -10. Snow is starting to come. It'll come a lot more later today and into tomorrow.
Wonderful.
Enjoy.
Canadian Taylor Pendrith is in the hunt as the second round of the PGA Players Championship gets underway today at TBC Sawgrass here in Florida. The Richmond Hill, Ontario golfer began the day tied for fourth at 5 under. American Chad Ramey leads the $25 million event after firing an 8 under 64 in the opening round. Fellow American Colin Morikawa is one shot back of the leader. I might as well throw this in now. This sports update brought to you by Scream 6 in theaters today. Following the latest ghost face killings, the 4 survivors leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh chapter. In Scream 6, Melissa Barrera, Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, Jenna Ortega, Hayden Panettiere, and Courtney Cox return to their roles in the franchise. Scream 6 debuting tonight at Landmark Cinemas. So, what else you got to do? Go to Landmark Cinemas and check it out, and sign up now for Landmark Extras and see what's playing at landmarkcinemas.com. I would not steer our viewers and audience wrong, Darren, as you know. We're Landmark Cinema members. We go to the website regularly. There's rewards. It's just the best darn thing. Landmark Cinema. So we're going to go to some movies here coming up or what?
We absolutely are. I'm excited. I got to get back to the movies tonight, potentially. I don't know if I'm going to go to Scream 6, but there's a couple. The Creed movie I want to watch. And the other one is, when I got that extras card, I never realized that you go back out with that Landmark Extras card and they'll refill your popcorn for free.
Well, there you go. What else do you need to need, everybody? What else do you need to know? By the way, you got football questions, write us now. We do football one day of the week in the off season. It's Football Fridays. So write us your questions, and people are doing so. Sean is watching on Game Plus television in Vancouver, and he says, Smiling Hank shopping for a new job. At least he helped Nathan Rourke get in the NFL door before he left. I saw that story. I think it was on 3 Down, or maybe Dave Naylor broke it. I can't remember, but that Henry Burris is a one and done with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But it was an interesting story. I don't know the details on it. I haven't talked to Hank in some time. Probably wouldn't take long to get the details on that, but I think it was a one-year deal. I'm guessing if the NFL is the same as the Canadian Football League, position coaches are one-year deals, coordinators are multi-year deals, and I don't know whose decision it was to leave, but the article that I read made it sound like it was Henry's decision to leave, that he was looking for an advancement in the National Football League. He started with the internship in Chicago, moved to offensive quality control, took a similar job in Jacksonville, and now he's looking to be a little more hands-on. I mean, maybe he'll go back to Chicago there, which incidentally, to our next comment, DG in Saskatoon writes in, he says, Morning, guys. A happy 49ers fan here with the news this morning that Brock Purdy had successful elbow surgery and has been greenlit for throwing in 3 months. No Tommy John surgery needed in the end. Have a great day. Thank you, Dan. And he says, I'm off to Phoenix for the World Baseball Classic. Go Canada. Interesting there. I was watching, what game was it that Brock Purdy got hurt? Was it the conference championship? Yeah. Eagles 49ers in San Fran. Saw Purdy get hurt. Saw Josh Johnson go in, and then I saw him get hurt. And what would they have done if Brock Purdy wasn't able to come back in? The NFL made the rule to go from 3 quarterbacks to 2 or give you the option. CFL's done the same thing. My mind's going in a lot of places. But Trey Lance is nowhere to be found because he was hurt. But you look at that quarterback class from 2 years ago now. Let's just look at the names and the odds. Number 1, Trevor Lawrence, not bad. Number 2, Zach Wilson. Huh? Was it not number 3, Trey Lance? If it wasn't exact, these are the numbers. This is the order they appeared. Justin Fields, Bears, 12th. And Mac Jones, 15th to New England. How many of those guys would you say worked out? Zach Wilson, definitely not. Trey Lance maybe still will. But we're talking about quarterbacks and a crapshoot in the first round, Darren. Did not tell you why veteran quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers are still valuable, so valuable into their twilight years.
Incredibly valuable. We have no idea, how a quarterback or a pro player is going to pan out. Excuse me, had a little sneeze there, but we have no idea how these guys are going to pan out. Thank you. As pros, and who's going to put in the time. I think we're still pretty high on Justin Fields, although we don't know his full potential. Mac Jones has kind of worked out in New England, but again, we don't know if he's a long-term option. So when you find a player, I would hang on to him and do whatever it takes to keep him, which, makes the situation in Baltimore so mind-boggling that you've got a guy who's been proven he's won an MVP. I know injuries are a little bit of a concern there, but I would be hanging on to him at all costs because you don't know when the next great quarterback is coming along. I mean, Brady was a 6th-round pick, and, you see other guys drafted in late rounds that become quarterbacks. Brock Purdy was the last player taken in the draft. So, again, quarterbacks so valuable and so hard to find good ones.
Well, overall, I'm trying to mind my own business. Like, I swear to God, 1 phone call, 2 at the most, and I get all the goods on Lamar Jackson that I need to know. I don't know the guy. Talked about it earlier that he's from Pompano. But there's got to be a reason, like you watch ESPN now that you're back home every day. Diana Rossini of ESPN was the one who's breaking all the news, and good for her. And they said to her, what do you think about the decision for Lamar Jackson to represent himself? And she goes, bold. And I'm looking at this going, he's either really smart or really stupid. I said that the other day. I would not want to handle these negotiations myself. That's why I have a business manager for. I would screw it all up. So again, Lamar Jackson, either really smart or really stupid. And I know enough football guys around here, they'd give me the good. I know a lot of cops around here too, because when Kodak Black got in that trouble at the Panthers game last year, remember? I was just thinking about that the other night. Remember that, Clark? Kodak Black?
How about that?
Cop friend of mine. Cop friend, who is also, incidentally, from Pompano Beach, said to me, he's known to police. Let's put it that way. Kodak Black. It wouldn't take a lot of calls to get the inside on him. Cole McCarvey is watching in Victoria, BC. He says, having Dave Naylor on the podcast this weekend. Thank you, Cole. What was your question for Andrew Harris, by the way? I can't remember. He asked me, like 30, 40 minutes ago, he asked me for a question to ask Andrew Harris, who's coming up next. And it's so far gone, I can't remember what it is. Ted in Arizona says, does anybody know if Garrett Marino got another shot in the USFL or the XFL? Well, a quick Google search would probably get you that. I want to say it's the USFL. Was it not? But I don't really remember. This was, here it is. Darren in Utah says Marino signed a USFL contract. They haven't played since he signed that contract. So, this was the guy that's basically been kicked out of the Canadian Football League. And by the way, I don't know what it's going to take, but you got to go back, if you haven't yet, and watch that Ottawa REDBLACKS behind the R documentary they did? Because no other network's doing it. They got to do it themselves. And they did an unbelievable job. And they had cameras at field level when Garrett Marino took out Jeremiah Masoli's knees. I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask if you've watched it or not, but because the Red Blacks reached out to me and said, would you watch this, Rod? It's debuting tonight. I watched it, and I loved it. It was NFL Films worthy. The screams of Jeremiah Masoli when his knees got taken out. And then you got this dork, Garrett Marino, jumping around like this. It was a horrible moment for the Canadian Football League. I don't blame them for kicking him out of the league. Not for one. I can't believe it took the league forcing the Riders to kick him out of the league. That was a horrible, horrible situation from last summer. And a great job by the Ottawa REDBLACKS. Andrew Harris is loaded up and ready to go. Are you coming back for overtime, Moose?
Sure, I'll be back.
Why not, eh? Why not? Okay, thank you.
Why not?
3-time repeat Grey Cup winner Andrew Harris joins us next. If you got questions, fire my way now, 902-518-3033. It is a Football Friday, and we are live across all of Canada, 10 provinces, and 31 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network. We're also live streaming on YouTube, iHeartRadio, and on your southern home of sports and talk on the radio, WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina. It's March, it's madness! Capital GMC Buick Cadillac has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Capital has Sierra 1500s with rates starting as low as 1.49%. Over 400 new vehicles in stock, or drive away in a GM certified pre-owned vehicle. They all come with a 150 plus point inspection and a 3-month warranty. It's March, it's madness! On now at Capital GMC Buick Cadillac, Saskatchewan's #1 GM retailer, capitalgmc.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Episode 956 of your favorite daytime sports talk show is on the air, and we're live on Game Plus TV across all of Manitoba on Bell MTS, Ontario, Rogers Cable, Cogeco, all of Canada, as I mentioned. We've got a living Hall of Famer here. Literally, one of the first guys I could say could go in the Hall of Fame now. Andrew Harris joining us. And Andrew, thank you for coming on. And before I ask you the first question, 4-time Grey Cup MVP, 2-time winner, Grey Cup Most Valuable Canadian, 1-time Grey Cup Most Valuable Player, 5-time CFL All-Star, 6-time Divisional All-Star, yada, yada, yada. And you're back for another kick at it. Man, what's up? Just don't want to retire or what after all of that? You could, you know.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that was definitely. I've had these thoughts for a while now of should I retire? Should I retire? But ultimately, I wanted to be, setting myself up properly for life after football. And ultimately, going through the process of kind of watching film from last year. Seeing how many guys we re-signed, seeing the pieces come together for this year. I'm just setting myself up now for life after, and really just giving it that last run, knowing that I'm 100% going to be done after this year. It's going to give me that closure to every stadium we go to, and really just kind of soak it all in and take it all in, knowing that's my last year. And it's kind of amazing to go in on your own terms and be able to have that say. When a team still wants you to come back and be a part of the locker room, be a part of the organization. I'm fully aware my role is going to be a little bit different this year than it ever has been, and I'm embracing that and taking that leadership role in a little more seriously and more in depth.
Well, you know what? If anybody's deserved the right to go out on their own terms, it's you. And believe me, I'm interested in this life after football stuff because that announcement came out right when they announced you signed a 1-year deal. But let's walk it back. Have you had the opportunity to say in interviews how great it felt to beat Winnipeg in the Grey Cup? I'll say it for you. I was so happy with the way that it went down at Mosaic Stadium because I know how hard it was for you to leave. What was your emotions that day?
Well, that game in itself was an emotional game no matter which side you're on. For myself, just being on the sideline and, we get some penalties and get them a little closer then Greg Ellenstein catches that corner out and they're in field goal position. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this could this is gonna end it here. And they have a little mishap on the line and a botched little bit of a snap, and we get that block, and honestly I had chills running down my spine, and literally just a gush of excitement and relief and it's indescribable, to be honest with you, the feeling I had, and definitely a feeling I'll remember for the rest of my life. And and again, just with that team too, with Argos, we went through a lot this year, and when I first got to Toronto, I was I felt like we had a lot of growing up to do, and I didn't really think when I first got there that we would have been a serious contender for the Grey Cup. And as the season kind of went along, and we kind of fought through adversities and came together as a team. We had loads of talent on that team, and guys that are real ballers and can make extreme plays. And when you look at that game as a whole, everyone contributed. Offense did their thing, defense did their thing. We had a second string quarterback come in. Special teams are a massive factor. So it was just amazing accumulation of all three phases of the football kind of coming together and making plays and getting it done. So that part was really, really, really something I was proud of, and excited to be a part of as well too.
3-peat Grey Cup winner Andrew Harris, and you're a thoughtful guy. You're a smart guy. That's why I've been one of your biggest fans through your entire career. And you kind of just answered it, but what was special about that team? Because Ryan Dinwiddie, good friend of mine. Pinball, real good friend of mine. Mike Hogan, the radio guy, same thing. It's a special organization, but there had to be something special about that specific team. What was there a turning point in the year that you saw that you matured, or what was it?
Yeah, I mean, well, there was so much nonsense early in the year, like guys fighting on the sidelines, locker rooms. There was always tension, and there was always guys looking over their shoulders, and But the one thing that was good about that, that nonsense going on, it was that guys cared, and that's the one thing I saw, which was something to build off of, is that people care. Sometimes you lose games or things don't go well. Guys just, they don't care at all. They're worried about picking their check up the next day after a win, and going about their business. But you could tell there was some compassion, there was care, and it just needed to be honed in the right way. I think the biggest thing was just trusting each other and trusting the guy next to you, and that definitely came along together. And even with the coaching staff, I think Dinwiddie came a long way this year and grew as a coach, and definitely excited to watch him work through his processes and see how he kind of how he grew and learned from his players and his coaches as well too. So it was definitely an interesting year, and even being hurt this year, I took a way different approach than I have had in the past, and obviously the length of my injury as well too. I was able to kind of step in the coaches' meeting rooms and get a glimpse of what it would be like from that side of the fence, and even watching the games was a lot different for me this year on the sidelines, and kind of listening in the plays and charting plays and all that kind of stuff was also a big learning experience. But yeah, I mean, so much growth from this year, and ultimately this is one of the reasons why I want to come back, because I felt like I grew so much last year as a person, as a player, as a teammate, as a leader, and I wanted to give it one more kick at the can to seal it off with these guys.
Well, there will be a 30 for 30 made on your life at some point. I don't need to watch it because I've watched from day one, but it's a fascinating story. And
we're working on that right now too, actually.
I'm sure you are. So talk about this. It's not life after football per se, because you're going to stay in football, but life after the CFL. For those that don't know, you got it lined up. Tell us.
Yeah, so this year when I was kind of considering retiring, I was in talks with my old junior team, the VI Raiders, in Nanaimo. That's in the CGFL, Canadian Junior Football League. So yeah, I mean, for me, this opportunity came up, and we kind of started talking in December, January. And as I started to kind of get more serious with the decision, it was kind of leading into February, free agency time. And so I talked to the president and then the board of the team in Nanaimo there, and said, what, is it possible for me to do head of football operations for this year, and kind of get my claws in the team and start working some things, and then after my season this year in Toronto, I'll come back and be the head coach. So as of about 3 weeks ago now, I've taken over head of football operations with the Vancouver Raiders in Nanaimo, and just in control of the coaching staff, recruiting, and just working on just all our systems and getting things in place. And I got to name two kind of assistant head coaches to kind of help me out while I'm away. And then once I jump in, once I get done playing football here in the CFL, then I'll be moving my family out to Nanaimo and taking over full time as a head coach there, and starting a career in the financial business.
Wow, good for you. So do you expect to go back coaching or going back to the pros one day, or are you living it just one play at a time, one day at a time?
Yeah, I mean, I had some opportunities and talks about doing some positional coaching this year when I was thinking of retiring in the CFL. I think ultimately, I mean, junior gave me so much, and the Raiders gave me so much. That was really where my seriousness of being a professional athlete started, and springboarding me from playing junior during the week or during on the weekends, and then practicing with the Lions during the week. So I mean, there's lots of ties there for me and my growth and my progression into becoming a professional athlete and a young man. And I really just want to get back to that culture, that system, that community. And I think for myself, this is a good start for me to kind of get back and revamp myself and from the grassroots level. And I'm really looking forward to, and the biggest thing is, winning football games is amazing. National championships is obviously going to be the goal for us. But the biggest thing for me is just impacting young men and getting them on the right path. And juniors a lot different than CAS in a lot of ways. And some guys are just there for 2-3 years or 1 year and going to school. Some guys are just, junior lifers that want to get into the workforce after. And then there's some guys who really have aspirations of playing professional from junior. And I want to be able to service all the guys as best possible and lead them in the right direction and make sure they're leaving junior with great experience and becoming coming as boys or young men and leaving as a grown men and stronger individuals as a whole.
Well, good for you, Andrew. Not a lot of people have the leadership to do that in life. We all go through our low times, our tough times, and we go through our high times. You've been through those, and you've done it in a public way, and you've come out a winner, man. I couldn't be more proud of you. So thanks for the time today, and good luck with all your efforts.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me today.
Andrew Harris of the Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts. By the way, Chris Sweet, your offensive line coach, says hi. I know you're still on the line. Sweeter's checking in from the Carolinas. We'll be back with overtime right after this. It is a Football Friday on Game Plus TV, YouTube, and WQEE The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's March. It's madness. Capital Ford has gone mad with crazy low pricing throughout the store. Save up to $7,000 on a brand new F-150. They have over 150 available right now. Or drive home in a new to you used vehicle. Plus, Capital Ford offers the highest guaranteed trade-in value, or they'll give you $500 cash. Get your hands on a new ride before they come to their senses. On now at Capital Ford. Visit CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I gotta hit the beat.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Hi, everybody. It's overtime. It's brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the UFC and the National Hockey League. The Moose is here. Let's bring him in. Kevin the Medium checking in from Airdrie says, what an amazing show today. I blinked and the show was almost over. I felt the same way. It went by very fast. And Kevin says, by the way, thanks for these great CFL player interviews today. Thank you to Clark for lining them up, for the players for doing it, the teams for coordinating them. They're so great. From WQEE, Rhino Radio says, great football Friday again, RP and crew, Atlanta's NHL show. I'm not getting tired of that anytime soon, Moose. Has a nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Absolutely. There has to be one, and we got it. We own the market.
Yeah. You wait till the NHL goes in there as an expansion franchise, and I feel like the games will be carried on WQEE. Terry in Calgary says, safe travels, Rod. I hope to meet you at Grey Eagle sometime. Well, you come down anytime, Terry, because we'll be there live Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to noon Mountain. Glenn is watching in Medicine-Hat. He says 3 Canadian junior football greats, Andrew Harris, Larry Ruck, and Paul Osbaldiston. I like this one from John Ohm. Andrew Harris is a great football player and man. Bravo. Can't wait to see you Friday, September 29th, 2023 at Bomber Stadium. Should be a fun night. He's got the schedule memorized. Am I like the only guy, Darren, that lives one day at a time? I'm the only guy. I can't tell you what I'm doing really Monday for the most part.
Yeah. You know, it's a good way. I like it. Like I try and, oh, is it coming down?
Yeah, potentially. Continue.
We're minutes away from the weekend. We're minutes. Just hang on for just a few minutes. But no, I admire the one day at a time thing. I have to live a little bit in advance, but it's hard. Like I don't want to commit to anything because I like things change. Things come up all the time. And, you know, the one day at a time thing, you might be on your own, but it's not a bad thing.
Well, my business manager, Joe, who I'll see this weekend, hopefully, he's like, he'll call me up. What are you doing September 10th? I don't know what I'm doing this afternoon, Joe. So I know it drives everybody crazy. Trust me, I get it. And the other interesting thing, you know, if we had the sense of mind to have a highlight reel, and it wouldn't be that hard to go back and find these moments, but it's like every last day that I'm in Florida, something happens. As you know, remember that flash flood last year where I almost died? Literally did get knocked off the air.
Yeah.
You know, of course you remember, you had to fill in. I felt like a CNN on-the-spot live weather reporter that day. There's always something.
That's great.
It's not real easy to leave. You saw what Randy Moeller said yesterday. He's like, why are you leaving us?
Yeah.
Well, as I told him, duty calls. But it's been nice. It's been nice assimilating to here. By the way, I wanted to do the sports update. And in the way of that, I'm just going to say tonight's games because it's fairly brief. NHL, Chicago here at Florida. No, I'm not going to the game. Anaheim Ducks at Calgary as the Flames go for a third straight win. Major League Baseball, Atlanta at Tampa Bay. They're going right now. And the Blue Jays taking on Boston right now. NBA tonight, Atlanta Hawks at the Washington Wizards. Here come the Hawks. And Raptors at the Lakers. Before I get into the dub, what did you think about Fred VanVleet getting dinged $30,000 for his officiating comments?
He knew he was going to. We knew he was going to. And I think it's fine because when you go on air and say, I don't care if you fine me, I'm expecting to be fined, and then go into talking about the refs. Now you're tempting the league. And now the league either has to say, oh, no, we're not going to fine you that much money, and then that's open season for the players to criticize your officials, or you come up with a stiff penalty, and I think it's what the league should have done. I don't think Fred VanVleet cares. I think his comments were good. I think both sides did what they needed to do, and we move on.
Sometimes it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's worth it. It was like me getting the parking ticket for $98 the last time I was there in Canada, parking in a heated garage because I didn't pay the $6, but I had to thaw out my vehicle. People here have no clue, Darren, no clue how cold it gets. And my brother's like, worth it.
Yeah.
$98 to thaw out worth it. So for Fred, I'm sure it was worth it. By the way, the Atlanta Hawks did have our way with the Washington Wizards the other night, 122-120. So tonight we go for the sweep. Rob Scott in BC says, man, I missed 2 former Lions in one show. Well, you can go back and always watch the replay. They were great interviews. Ryan in Saratoga, New York, have a great weekend, Rod Squad. Enjoy whichever sports you watch. Yeah, Dub tonight, Blades at PA, Warriors at Swift. Last minute of play on the RP show. Edmonton at Winnipeg. God's team, the Regina Pats, are at Lethbridge. So get out and watch these games. Calgary at Red Deer, Everett at Kamloops, Vancouver at Kelowna, Tri at Seattle, Portland at Spokane, PG at Victoria, not to mention all the great Junior A games. Sports update is for John Wick, Chapter 4 in theaters, March 24th. John Wick takes on his most lethal adversaries yet in the upcoming 4th installment of the series. John Wick 4 in Landmark Cinemas, March 24th. Okay, Moose, 30 seconds. What else you got? Anything? Put you on the spot here.
No, get me back to the Briar, because I was watching the first couple of ends of the games in the commercial break, and it's really exciting, really fast. So enjoy the weekend.
Everybody, we'll be talking to you Monday from Grey Eagle Resort and Casino in Calgary. Have a safe and fun weekend, and thanks for joining us here on Game Plus, WQEE. Who has more fun than us?
Hot take. That's hot.